Okay, we're recording. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the meeting, board meeting for the Pixels and Dice Lions Club. It's June 15th, 2023, and we do currently have quorum. So if everybody would, please just go ahead and state your name. We'll use that as the roll call. I'll start, and then just chime in whenever you feel. Uh, I'm Chris Snow, and I am the current club president.
I'm Robin Wisniewski, or Evo, and I'm a board member.
I'm Christopher Snow, and I am a board member.
I'm Kathy Lefevre, and I am treasurer.
I am
Lindsay?
Obadiah, also John, board member.
And we also have not able to speak at the moment, but Lindsay Andrews is present, and Lindsay does currently hold multiple positions as oh gosh, what is it? Lindsay
Secretary and Vice.
That's right, Secretary and Vice President. Excellent. Okay. So that's the roll call. I have posted the agenda. There's a link to it in this video chat, but it's also in the PDLC board channel. I'm hoping everybody's had a chance to review that. And once everybody's had a moment to review that, it is an outline of how we're going to conduct the meeting. But once everybody's had a chance to review that, if somebody would make a motion to accept it, and then somebody else second it, we can agree that it's been adopted.
I can agree on that.
So do you make a motion that we adopt the agenda?
Yes.
All right. Do we have somebody that would second that motion?
Second that emotion? That's awesome. What
Not
song
a motion.
is that? I'm gonna second that motion just for that reference.
All right, great. Okay, we don't have minutes for this first meeting, so yay! We don't have to motion that the minutes are accepted. So we'll continue on to reports of the officers. Unfortunately, it looks like Lindsay Andrews probably won't be able to chime in at this time. But I will start at the top as club president. I'm helping to drive the drive a few of the things behind the scenes. One of the things that I've accomplished in the past week is I was able to establish a domain name for us to use for signing up for various online services to help support the club, and we're currently working on trying to find email hosting services that are either low cost or no cost that the club could use, and the other officers will be able to start things like signing up for our various accounts like Twitch and YouTube and Kick and things like that. So that's where we are from what I've been working on. Have any of the other
I think that's
officers?
awesome. Very good job.
Thank you. Have any of the other officers made any progress they'd like to report on for this initial inaugural meeting?
Nope.
Okay. We've got Lindsay will probably be available in a few minutes. She's reporting that we have 2 new applicants, so that's excellent news.
Yes.
And Lindsay, do you want us to? And they're Georgia applications. That's fantastic. Did you want us to wait for a few moments until you could speak? If you had anything else to report on.
I can say something in the meantime.
Okay, great. She's responding. She's responding, but let's go ahead and. Oh yeah, she says go ahead. So yeah, go for it. It looks like we have Bart joining us now.
Awesome. I didn't make any direct progress on club matters, but I am currently working on a Fantasy Grounds conversion of a relatively large product, and I am hoping that I'll be able to get us some keys for the board, or even for some club members, for hosting beneficial games. It's a 600-page PDF with a lot of D&D stuff in it, and it would make a great resource. I can get at least one free key, and I'm hoping to get a few more that I could hand out to club members for hosting games, either for the club for now or later for whatever kind of events we have.
That's great.
Okay, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We sure can.
Okay, lovely. So, sorry, I am actually visiting the Griffin Lions Club today down in Griffin, Georgia, because Dad needed a chauffeur. And so, and I love coming down here to visit them. They're so kind. And they love me and I love them. So I was down here, but he's doing their inauguration for their new board and all the members of chairs. But I have a couple of new applicants. One is my friend Caitlin. I'll have to bug her again. I don't know if she actually submitted the application. I'll have to bug her to make sure. Because we've both been all over the place, and she's going on a trip this weekend, so I'll probably double check with her next week. But one is another young woman. I say young woman. She's older than myself, but she's actually here as a visitor to the Griffin Lions Club as well, and as a avid gamer in multiple different senses. And she also has opened and done started the application. So I don't know if either of them are officially submitted yet, but both of them are Georgia residents. So that is 2 more Georgia numbers at the very least.
I've got Hillary joining, so that'll be 1 more.
Yeah, we suckered Hillary into it.
Yeah, I pitched to Jared and pitched to Jessica, so we're waiting to find out if they will sign on.
Okay.
How many Georgia members do we need?
What was the number, Chris?
It's 5 in
I can't remember
total.
off the top of my head.
I don't.
I think it was
remember
5 in total. I think it was 5. So with if you've got the 2 that you're talking about and the one I've been talking about, then we just need 2 more. So if the other 2 that I've pitched to can come through, then we're good to go.
Okay. I should have a couple others I could reach out to out here. I haven't been able to reach out to anybody recently. But with Jared,
never hurts to have too many.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to properly reach out to people, but from the other org I'm super involved in, but I know they'd probably also be interested, and I just need to talk to them.
Okay. Yeah,
Alright.
that sounds good.
I'm very proud of you all. Thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Oh, I also have one of the secretary of the Griffin Lions, his name is Anthony. He has 2 children himself, the youngest of which is 18. She's headed to college this year, but I should be able to. That would be 2 more if I can convince the two young adults to join, his 2 young adults to join. And then also he said he was going to start talking to people in his community as well down here and just all around, and start putting it out there. So this is less an update, more something to consider in the long run, just for everybody to keep in mind. We can't as a Lions Club, you have to be 18, but a Leo Club is under 18. For those of you who don't know that already, I know a good few of us do, but Leos are basically the kids who want to be involved, but they have to be considered Leos instead of Lions, simply based off just Lions Club rules and regulations. But that might be something, especially with this being a gaming club, definitely considering making a Leos in the long run.
Sure.
So, but that's too much to bite off right now. That's just something for everybody to keep in mind as we continue to grow.
Okay. And that would be
Awesome
something
stuff.
that Eric would probably want to help push along later as
Yes,
a membership chair.
correct.
Okay, so I guess Kathy, have you been working with anybody to get any of the financial accounts set up yet?
No, I believe we were waiting mostly because we wanted to have an official email first.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, we're working on that. So Lindsay and I will probably end up driving that. Lindsay, I know that you had started poking to see if you could find somebody that could provide the email hosting. Did you have any update there?
No update there yet. I also have an entire 2-hour car ride back with Dad.
Great.
So I will have plenty of time to bug him about it because he has a little more experience in that front than I do. Obviously, I'm not the one who usually goes to get the hosting. I'm usually the one who just handles the email communication. So I'm going to ask him if he knows, because, we have our Andrew's family one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see maybe, that might be something to do. We host ours, I believe, through his old company.
Yep.
We could see how much that would be to get Pixel and Dice.
Yeah, ideally I would love to find some free hosting for that.
Yeah.
Ideally, it would be great.
I can look into that as well.
Yeah, it'd be great if somebody could donate the email services. All I would need to do to get that started is basically just point the MX records at whoever will do the hosting, and they'll need to give us a way to manage the accounts as well.
So that might be something that so the guy who runs the business, his name is Graham McGee, former business partner and he's one of my dad's best friends, and I'm sure a couple of you might know him. But Graham, I think, has been involved with some Lions Club stuff before, or at least he's aware of it because of my parents. So there's a possibility we could talk to him about that being just a donation for the domain and whatnot. I would
If
have
not, he might be able to point us in the right direction. So
correct, yeah.
I know Graham too, so yeah.
Yeah, that might be the way to go, Bart. Is talking to Graham about it. Either you or I can get Dad to do it too.
Your dad may have a faster result, but just because he talks to Graham more often, and I'm actually probably closer to Sharon, but I don't mind trying to reach out as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Dad as soon as he's done. He was doing, like I said, the essentially the inauguration of their board and whatnot. So that's why I couldn't unmute and I couldn't escape the room right away. And then I was like, well, I have important updates. I gotta leave. So I lost track of my Thursdays.
That's all right. Bart, you're the only remaining officer we haven't heard from. Typically, the tail twister might give an accounting of the fines that he's imposed, but we haven't had any of those yet.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually got a solution for that.
Oh no!
I
don't like when he says that.
Who doesn't like trivia? Everybody likes trivia, right?
Oh, no.
So everybody bring up the chat real quick.
Wait, wait a second.
This isn't a general meeting.
No, but we can.
You asked him to
When we
speak.
do the general
Your
meeting,
fault.
we'll have somebody to assign fines, and I like this plan.
Alright.
So, hey, don't put
Well-
me in charge of something if you don't like how I do it.
Oh boy, here we go.
I love it.
All right. So,
But yeah.
quick question here for the trivia question is, what was the name of the starship that Ripley was on in Alien? Whoever answers in the chat first wins.
I know this.
Oh,
An answer in the chat.
Did I?
Nice.
no. I
Yes, so
did
you
it
get to pick
Too
who
slow
pays
at
next time.
typing. I was trying to go for the
It-
full name.
okay.
Actually, does it have? Is it?
Yes,
does
it
it
was
have
the
an S?
Nostromo. So
It doesn't have an S, man.
Doesn't
You're
have an
wrong.
S.
It's
Okay,
based
so-
on a Joseph Conrad novel.
actually, yeah, Obadiah came in first on mine. So,
Yeah.
so
Oh, did he?
Obadiah
'Cause-
next meeting, yeah. So, and you put an S. So
Yeah.
Obadiah, next time you get to point at somebody to pay, whether it's me or Chris or Lindsay or Garner, whoever you'd like. Just feel free to point the finger at whoever you'd like to pay, and that'll take care of that. And we'll do
I
another
don't
trivia question
understand
next
this.
time.
What do they got to pay?
So
Do they have to do like a trick?
No. So it's the one of the duties of the tail twister is to fine members. So he might point at somebody and say, hey, I don't like the color shirt you're wearing today. Pay $1. Anything like that. So it's just and usually the tail twister's insult would be much better than that. My insults suck. I would make a terrible bard.
Yes,
Um,
they're also so goofy, and it's supposed to be lighthearted. And the whole
Yeah.
point is basically the fine, quote unquote, is literally $1. Like it's not like
And the
anything
idea
crazy.
is, I've learned from history that sometimes if you engage other people into the evil work, then it becomes accepted as a cultural norm. So
So a fine without laughter wasn't worth
that's where I
it.
went with it.
A fine without
Listen,
laughter wasn't
we-
worth it. So there we go.
We could also be like my grandfather. My grandfather just hands around a hat and says, "Put money."
Yeah.
As he's telling jokes, he literally just makes people hand around a hat
Oh yeah.
to put $1 in.
Well, he'll tell people to
So-
stand up, take out $1, and then he'll usually tells a bad.
Yes.
He tells
an
a
insult at- or
story
bad
about
joke
that
afterwards.
person, whether or not that story's true.
It's
That's
up
a
to the
completely
crowd to
different
decide that
topic.
one.
All right. So let's see. I guess that covers our officers here. So typically at this point we would move on into old business. We don't really have old business. It's going to be new business. So I'm going to go ahead and start off kick off the new business. Darn it! I just threw my notes away. I was holding on to them just a moment ago. Sorry. I literally had them in my hand, and I have not moved, and they're gone. All right,
Chris,
so
They
how do
ran
you
away.
manage?
I don't know.
I think he
It's
was
amazing
right. They
I've gotten
must
this
have
far
run
That's
away.
where I
in
get
life.
it from.
If you and Dad can make it that far, I think, and Bart too. I'll throw Bart under. I think if you three can make it, I'll be
It's
okay.
amazing Bart's made it this far. I've met his brothers and his sister. All right.
No, we lost Bart.
Oh, did we
Aw,
lose Bart?
we insulted the
No,
tail
he
twister to
missed
death.
that.
Okay, so one of the things that I did want to bring up in new business is we had discussed a little bit at the general meeting, which isn't really the place for it. We had talked about establishing some committees, and one of those committees would be for potentially helping to organize club exposure as a membership drive at the various cons, and I think it's a great idea, personally, that we get a committee for that. So to do that, what we'll have to do is we'll have to see if we can find a volunteer for to be a committee chair for that task, and that person would help drive that and report to the board regularly on their progress. Anyway, I think that's a good idea. Now, keep in mind, folks, whenever we're talking about new business, pretty much anything that we do, we have to have a motion to accept something, and then we have to have a second for that. So, do we have a motion for establishing a committee for con presences?
Yeah, I will
Yes.
motion to accept it.
I will
I'll back
second.
that up.
All right. So, what I will do is I will put a message out for a con committee, asking if anybody is willing to chair that. If nobody here wants to do that, then we'll see if we can find somebody else from the.
I'd be interested in
other
that
members.
committee, but I don't know if I am
It-
prepared to chair. I'd be vice chair.
Yeah, and that.
But,
yeah, the chairperson would be the one that would decide how many that we want to have on the committee.
So I think best way to go about this. I know that obviously Jerry's he's having some circumstances right now that are obviously definitely incredibly important.
Right.
But when he's back, he loves cons. He goes quite often. That might be something worth extending an invitation to him. That is, if I had to vote for a chair, if he would accept it, that my vote would be Jerry. Even if that means he takes a little bit of a step back from the board itself. That's obviously whatever's most comfortable for Jerry. But he would be my number one just because he has such a strong con presence as is. And probably has some of the best understanding amongst all members, not including associate members, like my father. Because that would be another option, but he's associate. So obviously it needs to be a full member, not an associate member.
Right.
I definitely agree with that. Jerry seems like he has visited a lot of cons and is still visiting a lot of them.
Oh yes, he's always talking about. I think he's going to Gen Con, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But he was the one who spearheaded us making the banner and stuff like that. So he is definitely on the ball already with certain con related things for the club as is.
Hey guys,
Mhm.
this is Obadiah here. I wish there was like a raise hand button, but I can't find it. Is there one?
There's not. Just speak up.
just-
If you have something to present, just go.
I would say just try not to talk over other folks. And I would ask everybody to
Of
do
course.
the same.
No, I don't. You know, I'm trying, right? So like, I just like the little raise hand thing because like then you will know, and I like to wait my turn. Because it's America, we like to wait our turn. Now, Evo has told me that we already talked about this before, that we have two committees. Like, should we have just a convention committee, or do we need also an online convention committee? Because actually, that's some of the stuff I wanted to talk about today.
I
Mm.
personally don't know
Go ahead,
what
Chris.
an online convention is. I've never seen one of those, or I haven't been exposed to it, I guess is the way to put it. So,
All right,
if
so
you have more
then let me say
information
my
on that, go ahead and share that.
Please. So then I guess we should have two. We should have a committee, and like a convention committee, a traditional convention committee, and maybe we should have an online or virtual convention committee.
So,
But people could wear both hats.
So here's the thing. I think it would be more beneficial to only have the one, because usually these people that are going to be going to these committees have seen. So let me start over. Just let me clear my head. So I went to GaryCon this past year. I was supposed to be fully virtual. I was supposed to simply just run some games online, help with social media presence, be a volunteer staff member, etc. but I ended up being on site, but still doing virtual aspects. And it was pretty easy to do both. Yes, I was enjoying the con. Yes, I had my time to do what I wanted to do without feeling impaired by the work of both. So, that being said, I personally don't see the need for 2 committees, especially if, let's say, you have 4 people on this committee. Well, 2 of them can make it to Gen Con, right? But 2 of them can't. Well, there is a virtual side to Gen Con, but the way that virtual cons usually run is not your standard, I walk around and do all these things and give presentations and stuff like that. It's usually online games only for the most part. Sometimes there's lectures or seminars of certain kinds that are recorded and posted for people to see, or like you have to actually buy a ticket to be at the live recording. But I don't necessarily see the benefit of having 2. Unless, I mean, I would love to hear more about what you're thinking about it too, though.
I love what you're saying. I was at GaryCon too, but I was there totally virtually at the help desk and stuff like that. And what I'm trying to say, I think you sort of hinted at it in what you were saying, but I don't want to co-opt what you say, is that virtual conventions are a completely different breed than regular conventions. And I think they need to be actually considered as such, because it's going to require a different outlook, a different, approach. And virtual conventions, they have virtual lounges, they have virtual bars. People get together and, jaw jack, shoot the shit, whatever, There's just a lot of I've been stuck up in here in northern Wisconsin, for a long time now, taking care of my parents. Virtual conventions are the only conventions I'm getting lately. And I guess, so I have a lot of experience with that, but I think that there should be, I just think it might need to deserve its own group. And I'm going to add to this right now, and I'm talking too much, and I hate it. Chaosium is looking for online GMs for Gen Con. You'd have to contact them. I have the email by tomorrow if you'd like to do Call of Cthulhu, Pulp Cthulhu, Down Dark Affairs Cthulhu, 7C, RuneQuest, any of them like that. They're looking for GMs to go online. They will pay your fees, and you get extra credits, and they'll give you the free modules, and even maybe a few SRDs and stuff, which are standard rule books or whatever, or even core rule books, whatever. Also, Nations and Cannons, which does a Revolutionary War thing, but they use the 5e rules, but instead of magic, you use rhetoric. They're looking for people. It's very easy to pick up because it's 5e, and it's a really wonderful universe, and I've GM'd for these guys before, and they're pretty cool. So, these are 2 online things, but I gotta be honest with you guys, you'd have to act soon if anyone was interested in that. Also, Origins in person, Baldwin Games is looking for people to go there and do live DMing, and they will pay your room and board if you do over 4 games.
Yep. So, how do you see the club participating in that, and how would that help further the cause of the club?
Well, I guess obviously because when you wear the shirt, okay, I don't know if you were in the military or firefighters or whatever. You don't wear your own company shirt when you go out partying, right? Because you don't want to sully the reputation. But you do wear the shirt at the place where you look great. So, we run our games and we wear our shirts and we say, hey, I'm a representative of this group. And, if you like my games, check out my group, right? This is what we stand for. I guess that's what I was sort of thinking. I wasn't thinking of a desk yet because I don't know if we're really prepared to do that yet,
I don't even know, even if we were prepared for a desk, I don't know that we have anywhere near the reputation or authority for a lot of these bigger cons, even virtually, because it does take a lot, because they have to supervise, because if something were to go wrong in one of these chat rooms, it is on them. This is partially me speaking as one of the GaryCon members, staff members. Well, baby staff member, basically, for lack of a better way to put it. But I've watched what my dad and a lot of the other staff members have had to deal with. If they're not incredibly careful and keep everything under wraps, supervise, you have a GaryCon rep everywhere, all that kind of stuff, it can be a little dicey, especially in an online environment where you can very easily get trolls. So here's where it comes down to, what sort of different approach do we take for online versus in person? Because I think we could do relatively the same things both in person and online, with wearing the shirts, talking to your players about the organization. It doesn't have to be anything super official, but we can have like pamphlet handouts. But online, it's just as simple as doing a PDF or something like that, an inlaid PDF. What sort of big differences are you thinking? I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I apologize. I didn't mean. I thought.
No, you're okay. I was babbling. You're okay.
So, the one concern I would have about any con is if we're going to be there and promoting the code or the club. My concern would be that we should be there in some type of official or affiliated status.
Right.
I wouldn't want us to be promoting the club at an event, and then maybe that event has some kind of rule against promoting
Right.
other organizations. I don't know. I'm not a frequenter of the cons, physical or virtual. So.
Okay, that
but
is something I can. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think we need to have, I actually think John's idea has merit.
Okay.
I think it should. I think what I would suggest, if somebody wanted to motion that we form some type of committee for the virtual cons, that it be an exploratory committee.
Okay, that would make more sense to me. I think just to get a feel for what the differences might be between the two, because I think looking at it, obviously I'm not the only one here. I'm not the only one with thoughts on all this, and I'm sorry I've been blabbering a little. I'm trying to get a better understanding of the differences between the two, because I don't want confusion for people. But yeah, I think an exploratory committee would be a very good option here.
I would also be more on the side of only one committee. I'm from Germany, and we are very well known for bureaucracy. And Germans know that this bureaucracy is actually harming everyone. So this is a tangent, but I'm thinking if we have one committee with a chair person that knows their way around all the legal stuff involved with representing a certain type of community at these big events, whether that be offline or online, the rules would be similar, I assume. And then on the committee, you have multiple people that are either offline or online representatives and go to a lot of cons. And you could talk to these committee members if you want to represent the club on a con, that you can then make sure, hey, here's the rules of this particular con. We looked into this. You can give out PDFs, you can give out flyers, you can wear our shirt at the table. We can give you maybe like a little bit of money to actually run a table at the con and so on. I think one committee with like a chair that has like a good overview, and then a couple of people that have detailed approaches into either online or offline, or maybe even both, would be better for us than going for two separate committees, and then there's cons that are online and offline, and then you have to talk to 3 people, and it just gets more confusing than simplifying things, in my opinion.
I always respect everything you say, Evo, and you're great. But I'm going to disagree with you on this point, because I think that the people that are good at going to conventions, like many people here have said, they either don't go to conventions or have never done online conventions, right? I think that online conventions apparently might be within our group something new, and we should recruit from our group and see who wants to do that. Like I like the exploratory committee, but open it up to the whole group and say like, because like, for many of us, online cons are the only way to go. And we deal with a lot of people with disability and afraid to leave their house and all that mental health stuff we are supposed to be good for. The virtual cons help it.
Yeah, I totally agree that virtual and in real life conventions are separate in what they are attracting sorts of people and how they run things and stuff. I'm just thinking that from our standpoint, the approach shouldn't differ between offline and online if we want to represent the club. I think we should have like a straightforward idea of what we want to do on conventions if we want to represent ourselves.
I think the other thing is the rules or any of the guidelines we're going to create should be consistent. We don't want to have things that are redundant between the two or separately discussed when they really should be discussed in one whole part. So starting as one committee that also looks into how this would change between the two. What are the differences would be important. Because some parts of it are going to be the same.
I worry that in a post-COVID world, and especially during COVID, everything went online, right? Everything was virtual. Everything I did was virtual. I did Piezo, I did Origin, I did everything without like any convention, even like ones in San Francisco and California and Boston that are now back to just being in person, actually had online components.
So
I just don't want online to be like the redheaded stepchild of our community, since we are actually supposed to be a virtual gaming community. Why is online so threatening?
I don't believe that anybody's considering it threatening. I think what the concern is that I've heard expressed is that in terms of the responsibility of a con committee, there's very little to differentiate the physical from a virtual con in terms of what that committee would provide.
Yeah, so for example, Obadiah, if you have a lot of experience with virtual conventions, and then we have Jerry who has a lot of experience with offline conventions, wouldn't it be more beneficial for us, for you two, to just directly work together on one committee? Whether you have the chair or Jerry or someone else, doesn't really matter. But I think it would be much more beneficial for both of you to just pull on the same string, and then we can organize ourselves much easier, I think.
I will bow to the collective wisdom, but I don't think you're right. I've been a member of a collective. I was a member of Union Cab, which was a cooperative and stuff. Sometimes when like there's one group and it goes one way, and there's one leader and it goes one way, I worry that we're going to miss out this whole section of online conventions and online gaming, which we are uniquely positioned to take advantage of. In fact, I would argue that we should be more interested in online gaming than we are in conventions.
I don't believe that there's a when we're talking about the cons, physical or virtual, that there's nothing has been indicated that there's going to be a preference for either type. As it's been presented to me, at least in the prior conversations, it sounds to me more like a singular focus.
It's just convention
cons. These are cons. The where they happen doesn't matter so much as how we're going to present the club in that con environment.
See, I would disagree, because the very idea that we can have a committee on conventions, but we have to have an exploratory committee on virtual conventions, and the fact that so many people don't do virtual conventions, really to me says that virtual conventions are a different thing.
I was mentioning that just on your thoughts for having a virtual con committee. I was not opposed to that. Others seem to question whether or not a separate committee was needed, which is why I tossed out the word exploratory. But as I'm hearing people talk here now, at least in my mind, it seems to me that a single committee could cover both virtual and physical. It doesn't seem that it seems to me like we would be at this point in the game probably dividing our resources too soon.
I'd imagine that creating 2 committees for this would be more likely to create one of them as the redhead stepchild than the other way. Because people who are more committed to one are going to go towards one but not be involved in both. Having them on the same committee will get everybody involved in both and be more likely to continue to get people to be involved in both.
Yeah, and also the best way to help ensure that a committee is tackling some aspects of that committee's charter is to participate on the committee. And you've already said that you would like to be on the committee, so your voice would be there.
I would quickly like to return to something else you said at the very start, Obadiah. For the GM recruiting of, I think you said Goodman Games and Chaosium.
Baldwin Games is
Baldwin
recruiting.
Games and Chaosium. All
And
right.
Chaosium is recruiting. So now Nations and Cannons approached me because I like their product. But if you were interested in that too, can we have a PDLC looking for online GMs channel? Maybe I can throw my info on.
I would say you can make a post in the PDLC information. That seems like the right channel for it. I currently don't have the time to run any games on conventions, whether online or offline. But I'm thinking, because we are just the 7 board members of us here right now, the PDLC information channel is available to all the members of the club right now, and you can even ping them, so everyone could get the call. And you did say there's a certain urgency to the matter, so maybe you could get like a bunch of people for that. But I would also say that if the convention is like in the next couple of days or even weeks, we wouldn't want to motion to represent the club because we don't have any guidelines set up yet for that.
So there's also, I think, not saying that putting in any information was necessarily a bad idea, but the whole point of the information channel is specifically for like our application link and stuff like that. It'll have all assets like logos and stuff like that when I get those fully created. It has the poster, the flyer that was created by Shelly. I can specifically make a either you can use the ones that are already in the channel, already in the Discord, not just for PDLC. What's up, Obadiah?
Could you just make like a PDLC GM opportunities?
Actually, I have a solution that would probably suit this a little bit better. Instead of creating a variety of channels, Discord has the ability to create threads. So if there's an event coming up that is in need of any GMs, I would suggest creating a thread. You can go ahead and tag the club on that and just let that build up in the thread.
Only downside to threads that I would say is that you will definitely have to ping people to get their attention. I find that my threads get lost even if I put them on watch. So make sure if you're going to do a thread, make sure you ping the club and for what you're looking for.
I agree with Timbus, right? That threads are hard, man. I can't even follow threads. I try, but I think this deserves its own channel because I'm talking. They give you product. They give you real world money and cash and coupons, and Baldwin's willing to put you up in a hotel. I mean, this is real stuff. People can make money, make their reputations on this.
So there's also
the
go ahead, Evo.
maybe we thought of the same thing. There's also the forums feature on Discord. You can make a forum channel, and then you can store threads in there that are much more visible, but
So-
you still have one
yeah.
channel for a collection of topics.
Right. So I think the only thing with forums right now, this is also going to come to another motion that we have yet to discuss so far. But this is going to come down to, are we going to make our own Discord or not? Because I don't want to overload Chaotic Good Gaming, because we are not the only ones using this server currently. There are other places. If you look at Game Finder, which is under it's under gaming discussions, you can put the information there. Almost everybody in here, you have a GM role that's available for people. So you can at GM and at the you can at GMs, the GM role, or you could at the club, or both. That way you're not just getting club members, but you might encourage other people who are not necessarily involved with the club to be looking for this too. And it's not a bad thing. There's also the promotions channel, but promotions is more for streaming along those lines, or stuff like that. So there are other options, and this brings us to another thing that needs to be discussed at some point, but not right this second. So
Well,
Yeah,
just to be clear, I want to throw this in before we continue on anything else. I want to make sure that
Yeah.
we've already had a motion, and it was seconded for the formation of a con committee.
yes,
And
yeah, I was saying we don't move on. That's what I was saying. I was saying that was something for later. No
yeah,
worries.
And unless anybody has a motion and a second for a virtual con committee, I would say that we need to go ahead and move on to another topic.
No, I agree with you guys. I think you're right. Thank you. Thank you for your input. Thank you for the respect of listening to me.
Absolutely.
Of course,
Of
always.
course. And we can come
I-
back to the virtual one later.
Yeah.
If it happens
Yeah,
to turn out that we might want one.
So that brings up a great point, Obadiah. If you end up being on that committee, and you feel that it gets to a point where there should be a distinction between the physical cons and the virtual
Well, we can
cons,
make a
because
subcommittee, man. We can do a
because-
subcommittee.
yeah.
You don't have to make a whole
So-
new committee. It'll
yeah.
be cool.
yeah, that's something the committee would decide. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
guys, I love this. This is fun. I am not
So-
upset. I am rewarded in my heart. I love talking about this.
So
I wish you would all
actually do
take. Hold on, I gotta interrupt. I wish you would all, if I could post this information, but try it, man. If you're good GMs, they'll give you product and SRDs and stuff. What's better than free product? Eh?
Yeah. Now, yeah, and John, go ahead. Feel free to make a post there. But this.
Well, tell me what channel.
The
There, what do you think, Chris?
Personally, I would put it in the general channel, since it's going out to the general population.
just
yeah, and tag 'em.
PDLC.
PDLC General or Chaotic Good
Or-
Gaming General?
No, I would say the PD. Well,
Because here's the thing, you could put it in promotions if you're gonna do it to the whole server. And I would personally, I would put it in promotions and tell people, hey, these people, they are looking for GMs, and you can ping both the club members and the GM role. You should be able to do both. Because then you might also encourage and inspire people to join the club too with stuff like this.
all right. So I
That's
need to.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and with that, we need to go ahead and continue on with the meeting. We need to stay on topic here.
I just had a quick thing. How would we feel about an esports committee?
Definitely. I would second that.
Yes.
Okay. I set forward a motion to create an esports committee as well as the con committee.
I second that notion.
Thank
feel
you,
that.
Christopher.
All right.
Yeah.
So typically we would do a all in favor for these motions once they've been
Right.
seconded. Let's do it the other way. Anybody not want to for the two motions that we've had, the physical con committee, I take
No,
it there are no
physical con
naysayers.
committee, con committee.
Sorry, con committee. Yes, I had to scratch it out in my notes. Thank you. And I was reading that in the dark, so I didn't quite see the scratch out. So
Sitting
the
in the
con
dark.
committee. So did we have any nays on the con committee? All right, any nays for the esports? All right.
Although again, on the esports, we might want to make it virtual sports or like virtual games. Like keep it more broad for now.
Okay.
Is what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
virtual games might be the way. The problem is I specifically wanted, because here's the thing. What I was thinking is specifically with video games, not so much as because virtual games can relate to like virtual D&D games or stuff like that. So I was leaning more esports versus just virtual games in general, only because I wanted to focus on video games. We
How-
could just say video game committee.
That seems fair.
I think that esports is fine for the starter, and then maybe we shoot it off into like tabletop opia and tabletop board games or whatever. That's a small segment yet to be approached, But I think esports is the first way to go.
Esports will
I'm
generally refer to competitive Twitch games
yeah,
or
and
or
I'm
strategy.
thinking if we want.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so we can do. Why don't we broaden it just to video games instead of just
Yeah.
because I want it to.
What about
My only.
esports and video games?
Yeah, okay. Combine the two.
Sure.
That's fine by me. That way, it basically will broaden it to include more casual gaming as well, not just
Yeah.
esports, because esports can get intense very quickly.
Yeah,
That's how I'll
esports
label
is
it.
very niche.
Since
we
we've
could-
already, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you. There was a little
Same
bit of a
thing.
delay on my side.
Yeah, no worries. I'm thinking that with like video games in general, like we could like focus on like events, even with like Golf It or something that it's not an esport per se. But it's still like a thing that you could make a cool event out of to raise some money.
Right.
Which I'm thinking is what we would want to do with this committee.
Yeah. This would be something I would either want to be on this committee or chair of. Christopher, I think not Christopher. I think this is something you and I can talk more heavily about as well. Because this seems right up your alley.
Most definitely.
That's what I thought. So if this is something you might be interested in being the chair of, that might not be a bad idea, but that's up to you to consider. So we don't have to make that decision now. That's just something for you to think on.
Yep, sounds good.
I
Okay.
would also like to join that committee in the future.
What I'll
Yeah.
end up doing is putting a call out for, for people that would like to participate in the committee, and what I would like for people to do that are interested in participating in the committee is have them discuss among themselves.
Okay.
Who wants to be the chair? Who wants to be vice chair? However they want to split it up, but then have them report at the next board meeting on their committee, or actually they can report and we'll make this we'll just have this in the open discussion, I think, and then we can have them report at the next committee meeting. I love the cat there, John.
Okay.
She's a terrible pest. She's an attention getter.
Yeah,
She
I've
likes
got
to
one of
walk
those, too.
across my keyboard when I play games.
All right.
Oh, of course. That's how it works.
All right. So on to the next. One of the
No.
things that-
I gotta say, like, then we need to make a channel or like those hashtag channels. Like, we need to have like a text channel for each committee
think-
or proto
I
committee.
think the next topic
Yeah,
is
well-
coming up. and that
Yes,
will
I think
be
the next
relevant.
topic covers that
Yeah.
a little
Well,
bit more.
Actually, before we get to having a separate Discord, which we'll definitely talk about, one of the things that I think that we're talking about having committees or forming committees right now, we need to have a committee that will help identify a primary beneficiary or two of
Yeah.
of our organization.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that.
I second that.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard
Me
a
too.
motion yet. Was that a motion?
I thought you did the motion. We need to have a committee.
No,
That sounds like
I
a
won't.
motion.
I won't make the motions. As president, I won't make the motions.
It's a president
I'll make the
thing that
motion.
you
We need to have a
president
motion
will do it.
to figure out what charities we're going to back up. And I want them to be about behavioral health and mental health and gaming.
I lost my train of thought. Dang it. I had my thought and then it's gone. I'm sorry.
Bring
All
it
right,
back.
So, do I hear a second for the formation of a beneficiaries committee?
Yes, I second that.
Okay. Anybody opposed to the formation of a committee for deciding beneficiaries? All right. Again, I would usually, in a normal physical meeting, I would ask for yays and nays, but I think we're all present enough here to just see if there's anybody opposed. If there were any oppositions,
agree.
just so y'all know,
Agree.
if there were any oppositions, I would ask for the yays.
Yes. Understood.
All
That
right.
makes sense.
If there is an opposition, I want to hear from the person, and then do a vote after that. Okay, so beneficiaries committee. So on to the next topic, we had we're talking about creating a separate Pixels and Dice Discord. Correct?
Yes, correct. That is
I love that
something that
idea.
would be. I do too. So here's the thing. Basically, I don't want to get rid of this section. I want to minimize it a little bit. So we wouldn't necessarily have the meeting room in here anymore, but we would have an information section. It would be a welcoming section for people to redirect to our Discord. Is how it would be utilized based on. Obviously, Chris and I have lots of experience utilizing Discord in many different ways, as well as lots of others of us. But the biggest thing is we don't want to fully get rid of it, but we do want to minimize it a little bit more. So like we wouldn't necessarily have the board member roles here anymore, or the meeting room, but we'd still have the voice channel. So if somebody wanted to specifically talk to some Lions Club members to see what it's about, they could do that, for example. But basically I'd leave all the information there. I'm going to clean out some channels and lock them up so that people can't spam them. Or like the information channel will be nothing but the information, stuff like that. It'll get cleaned out if this is what we want to do.
That's awesome. You are a fantastic thinker of things. I feel that the introduction should be pulled over to the main Discord though too, because like some of us were very open in our introductions. I don't always want everything to get out, you know?
Yes, no, that's totally fine. The introductions, I will leave. Chris, I think it might be beneficial to have maybe leave a version of introductions that's not quite as in depth. It can be smaller introductions of just the active like president and secretary and VP and main chairs, or we can just get rid of it altogether. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think just a quick summary of the officers and board, I think would be nice.
Okay.
But
So
on the new Discord, I still think that we should have an introduction section, but not as make that also a little more general as well, so people could just reveal only as much as they want to. Which is the case already, but just so they don't feel pressured to maybe put a life story there unless that's what they really want to do.
Yeah,
And John,
I can
by the way,
definitely
just
work.
as an aside, if there's a message that you've posted in Discord, you can always delete that or edit it because you
Yeah, but I don't
posted it.
mind like between you guys and me, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's me, man. I gotta face up to
Yeah,
that, right?
just
You gotta-
letting you know. There are some people that don't
No,
know.
I
that you
understand,
can
brother.
actually do
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
I
All right.
just wouldn't delete it between us because I feel that we are in a world of trust and empathy.
All right. I don't. We can have a motion and a vote on whether or not to split, and I'm not sure that we need to, but we certainly can. So if somebody wanted to
Well,
make a motion there, we could do a quick
I motion we have our own Discord channel.
I second it.
channel or server.
I second that.
I don't
Server.
know the difference.
All right.
Server.
Server.
Great.
And
All
I'm
right.
also thinking we can reduce the amount of channels here to one information channel, one chat, and one
Yes.
voice chat.
I will clean everything up. Nothing will get deleted per se. It'll be archived so nobody can see it. So if there's any information that anybody wants, you just let me know, but I will post an announcement and let people know that, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do not panic if there's information you want. I can get it out. But I will clean things up, but I will give plenty of warning and let people know before I do it. So I will put that announcement out later tonight and then probably work to clean up and get a full Discord set up within the next 2 days.
All right. Is there anybody
And then-
opposed to setting up a separate Discord?
Nope.
All right.
Dad,
All right.
Garner.
That sounds good. In that case, I will accept that as approval.
He's accepting your opinion as invalid, Dad.
I wasn't saying.
Oh, you
I'm
were
saying
saying no.
no,
to
I
Discord?
don't.
No, you don't
I
object.
don't object.
Okay. All
No,
right.
I don't object.
All right.
I thought we
Oh.
were
All
right, all right.
Hey, I just got you a new member tonight, so y'all be nice.
I already told them about that.
Okay.
Maybe
I already
maybe
updated
will
them.
be nice. All right.
You know it wasn't you.
Continuing on, I didn't have any other items that I had bulleted for myself to bring up as potential topics. Was there anything that somebody wanted to bring up for the board? Yeah.
What's up,
John, go
Obadiah?
ahead.
Go right on.
All right. I liked what we had to say. And I'm going to preface this by saying that I am the interim training officer for my local reservation fire department. And we're talking about having fire scouts. I loved your talk of Leos. I think that we should actually, at this beginning institution, create an exploratory committee. And I'm totally cool with it being exploratory about our youth committee. Because, what I do with the youth committee in the fire department is I don't know if you ever seen the board game Flashpoint, but it's a cooperative game where you fight fires. I try and get people to play it. I try and even get firefighters to play it because it's team building and communication. But I think that we could have gaming weekends for kids, and so I think that this is a really good idea.
So, as I do want to say something in response to that, not saying that this is a bad idea. I don't necessarily think that it's necessary to have a committee for it, only because I know the interest is there. I think the one thing we want to be sure of is that we don't bite off more than we can chew. That's the only reason I think I'm not motioning for a Leo's Club right now. Otherwise I would, because I know the interest is there. I have a younger brother who is not 18 and won't be 18 for a good while. But I know the interest is there. So I guess what would be the purpose of an exploratory committee in terms of...
How about we say 3 months from now, we revisit this topic, whether there's going to be a committee on youth. Give ourselves some time to get established.
Now,
Yeah, I think
But
giving
I
us
want
some time.
it written
What do you
down.
think,
I want it to happen.
Well, if it's spoken in
What
the
were you-
meeting, it's effectively written down. These meetings are recorded and posted. So
Yes.
All right,
and
we give
Chris
ourselves
takes
3
notes.
months to get established, and then we reassess whether we can start working with the youth.
okay, so now just so you know, in terms of the Lions Club, the Leo Club is a separate club that
Yes.
that we sponsor.
All right, 6
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. And for us to sponsor a club, of course, we'll have to have the resources, and I'm not sure what the guidance looks like.
All
for
right,
a
6
Leo
months
club.
to a year. Keep pushing me back, man. All right,
So,
within 6 to
I'm just
12
putting
months,
it out
I
there
think
for
that we should be
people that
looking
aren't
at our
familiar
own
with
Leo
it.
club.
Yeah, I love the
So,
idea of a Leo
yeah.
club personally.
I do too, and especially Tate, my little brother, has asked me, and Dad and Peyton, all of us. He said, "Can I join?" We're like, "No, you're not 18 yet. You can't join yet, but we're working on it." So I am very dedicated to making one, especially because I know how passionate my little brother is. Amongst others, I know that the interest is there. It'd be more the deliverance of sponsoring a club that would be feasible for us right now.
All right,
So
can I make a motion that within 6 to 12 months we try to set up a youth committee?
Yeah.
Is that a motion people can make? I don't know. I'm new to this.
yes. I Dad is sitting next to me nodding. So yes, that is a motion you can do. And it's also recorded, so we have video evidence that it has been talked about and that we are going to come back to it as well. I will second this motion. I want to come back to it whenever we are at that point.
That's awesome.
So we
Thank
can
you
handle it.
all.
So, Chris, Robert's Rules of Order. You need to allow for discussion on the motion now that you got a motion and a second.
Yep.
He's been doing it.
Okay.
He's been doing a good job.
All right. I'll shut up. All right. I guess there's no discussion, huh?
I don't know. You keep speaking over them.
I don't
all
know,
right.
Bart's
Did
not
anybody
feeling
have
very
anything they would like to add to that motion?
No, I mean,
All
I
right.
second it. That's
Great.
that's
All
about
right.
it.
Do we have anybody opposed? All right.
Lovely.
All right. Was there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up for the board?
I don't have anything.
My shoulder hurts.
I would like
Thanks
to
for
bring
your
up something. I would like to give everyone a self-congratulatory pat on the back.
Right.
That we're actually doing this and we're actually meeting and we're moving forward. I thank you all for allowing me to be part of this with you. I look forward to us having much success. Thank you.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I do as well. I was just saying this to the Griffin Lions earlier today because I actually did a whole pitch to the Griffin Lions. I have been a Lion since before I was officially a Lion. Alpharetta didn't really have a Leo club that stuck. So I was basically an honorary Lion as a young teenager. But I have wanted for years something to help me engage because I love being a Lion. It's very rewarding. It's very satisfying. It is so good to be a part of the community, but it's really hard to bring people my age into it. I found that out very quickly when I would ask my friends to come with me and they'd look at me and go, what's the Lions Club? I'd pitch it to them and they would be like, what do you guys do though? I was like, well, we do all this stuff to help people. They're like, okay, that sounds like a lot of commitment. So finally having this point where we're making this club a reality is so satisfying because I have wanted this for years because it combines my love for video games, online gaming, TTRPGs, and so many different types of people all together in one virtual space that allows people to not have the same commitment issues that you've often faced, especially with a lot of the younger, like I say younger generations, really meaning new grads and stuff like that, being concerned about time management. It has been much easier to get my friends interested in it now versus when I was trying to get them interested in Alpharetta just because of the time commitments alone. So I am very grateful to all of you.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
My shoulder hurts.
That's great.
So that I believe that pretty much sums up everything that we had, and I'll give one more chance out there for any new business.
Oh, Bart, I'm muted.
Well, I was just gonna say we ordered the mild spicy chicken wing, not the super spicy.
All right, fine.
Okay. Anyway, if we don't have any further new business, then I will adjourn this meeting.
Hey, don't we have to like sing a song or take an oath or something? Isn't that how this works? I don't remember.
The moment the meeting is over and
How about
and
I will
disconnect,
say
you
my
can
favorite
sing to
words
your
from
heart's
Martin Luther
content.
King. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it tends towards justice.
All right, let's
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
let's go ahead and wrap this up.
I love
folks.
that guy.
So again, if nobody has anything else, I think we'll go ahead and adjourn. All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
That's
you,
it.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you
participating.
all.
you.
And
Guys, be
I will
safe
post this.
and have a good week.
I'll post this
Chris, thanks
video
for
in a few
directing
minutes.
us.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.